And it's actually, and Amy said it went down to Easton. We tracked these guys from New York all the way down to North Carolina. Anybody else?
And I'd like to mention especially Detective Jeff Hartlove. He was the main investigator in this case, and it was really his tenacity that brought this case and made it what it was. He retired in May with 26 years of service. He was recognized with by Maryland Human Trafficking Task Force with awards for this and other awards he received. But he was a great detective, and if he hadn't been so tenacious about continuing with this homicide, you know, he had one dead end after another, and it really turned into a...
Yeah, I mean, our first brothel, we had no idea what it was. I mean, in all honesty, we had a suspicion. We went in, Sergeant Kirshner was with me.
I mean, it's not Vegas.
Basically, they'll get an apartment, they'll say, and there may be a sofa in there for the patrons to go sit down in, and then they'll have just a mattress on the floor in the bedroom. In the closet, there might be another mattress, and they might have, the next room might have 2 or 3 mattresses, and that's where the girl is for the week. And she's charged for paper towels, for condoms, for lotions, whatever she used. Rubbing alcohol. They're charged. The women are charged for that. So the way it works is that the fee was $30. $15 automatically goes to the house, and the girl's supposed to get $15. But out of that $15, whatever supplies she used, whatever food she ate, came out of this. So the girl really actually never made a dime out of it. And a lot of times we walk in there, and you'd have a girl, and she might have a bag this big for the whole week.
Yeah, and have like, you know, one outfit that she's wearing, and that's about it.
We went, the one house we went into one night, it had probably 6 girls in the house, in a 2-bedroom apartment.
And they have, they pay the doorman takes the money and gives the man some sort of marker that he's paid.
It might be a poker chip, it might be a card,
Right.
a playing card, and that's how they keep track.
The prostitute collects the token, whatever it is, and at the end of the night, that's how much she gets, basically.
On average, the girls would service between 30 and 50 guys a day.
Oh.
Yeah.
What about the customers? Were there charges laid against the?
We didn't often catch the customers because a lot of times we stumbled on these brothels, and we weren't gonna let these women continue just so that we could catch more people, you know, doing it. Now, a lot of times, we'll do stings, say, on West Street, for the ones that are picking up girls. We haven't had a personal experience. I'm sure Sergeant Kirshner and I could both tell stories about when we've gone out there to do that. It's not as common as it was, where you would see people near West and South Gate was one of the common areas that you would see people walking. And they would usually not look like they were prostitutes if you didn't know what you were looking for. But if we wore our grungiest clothes and looked like we needed a bath, then we would probably get picked up.
Our goal,
Sometimes we had teeth, so they did not.
our goal when we raided these prostitution houses was not to get the customers. We wanted the people that were running those houses. We wanted all the documents they had in the houses. We wanted as much intelligence as we could get.
Yeah.
And the more people that you have in the house, the higher risk it is of the raid. So we would pick times. They actually had operational hours. They opened at 10 and worked till 11 o'clock at night. So we would hit it in the off hours to limit the number of people that were in the house to make it safer for the officers going in. Yes, ma'am.
You characterize the customers.
Yeah, I wanted to ask something. Some years ago, when they were,
Well, excuse me, I
oh,
wonder
I'm
if you
sorry.
could,
Well,
who were the customers?
Politicians for one.
No,
well, you know more than I do. No, it's in the Hispanic houses that we hit, a lot of them were laborers. You know, there's not any set class. I mean, some of them probably had good jobs, some of them were probably day laborers. I mean, it varied on the
It
scale.
generally catered to the Hispanic community. They would pass out business cards at Hispanic businesses. They'd usually be in Spanish. they weren't catering to everybody on the street. They were usually catering to the Hispanic community.
And to the men, and to the people service, their wives or their family are back home, and it was more of a mindset for them. It was a need that was being filled versus kind of a.
Yeah, some years ago, they used to put the names of the folks who would, Johns, yeah. When they would pick up prostitutes or doing a sting, especially up along West Street, and they would name them, but all of a sudden it stopped.
Well, we haven't had as.
That's been years.
Well, yeah, and we haven't, I know there were some issues, they tried to ban some of the prostitutes from West Street, that was a tactic they used, some of the district court judges tried to do that, and then it was really, they can't ban somebody from a public street,
And unfortunately for us as well, technology has changed a lot of that.
Yes.
Because before, Amy and I used to walk the street because,
That's how you
say this in 1997 and even in 2000 when we would do that, cell phones weren't out and they were not as available. So now what would happen is I might be in the 7-Eleven, somebody may say a phrase that I know that they're looking for some sort of sexual favor in return. I can now then give them the cricket phone number, whatever phone number it is. The one I got at the 7-Eleven, police can't trace it, I can just throw it in the trash can, be gone, kind of thing. So technology has actually probably straightened up some of the streets a little bit in the sense of what you see visibly, like the hand-to-hands. They're not necessarily right on the corner of President and Madison anymore. They might be, hey, give me a call, meet me over in the Eastport Shopping Center. Sure. And they're in a car or something. So technology has changed some.
And a lot of the girls have also developed a clientele where they go to the person's house now, so they're not getting picked up on the street. They have that pre-designated pickup point, and they go there. Yes, sir.
Kind of going off what she was just talking with the technology being what it is nowadays, what kind of efforts and progress have you made on tracking down on things like Backpage.com and websites like those where you can, find escorts?
NSA is taking care of that.
Well, we don't.
As an agency, we don't work those areas. There's task force with the FBI, and ICE, Homeland Security. They all have task force, and they're the ones that are pretty much working those pages on a daily
And then if
basis.
they have something going on in the city, then they let us know and we can assist them with that. We had a.
Detected on one of the task forces.
There's actually a skill to being able to read those pages and pick up on the clues. Because the terminology changes. I mean, if you try to communicate with a 13-year-old these days, and they speak in their school language, you're lost. So there's, something that they train on, and they're trained to pick up on those things, where we can sit here and look at those pages all day long and think the guy's selling potted plants, and we would never know.
Yeah,
And because of the exchanges with the internet itself, I may be here in Maryland and I may be communicating with someone in Delaware. I don't actually have the jurisdiction, being the officer here in Maryland, to deal with the person communicating with me in Delaware. So they're often federal task forces because of that interstate communication.
yeah, and, we had a child sex abuse case that came to us, from one of the federal agencies. It was like that, someone saw a picture, were able to track down the eyeglasses.
Yeah, a lot of times, what happens, and this is kind of a little off topic, but in child pornography, what has happened in those cases, most of them go federal because the images are exchanged over the internet. But what happens is there was a court case, and what happened was if you can't actually identify who the victim is, then you really don't have a victim to charge. So what we started finding they were doing was taking images. They might take, the Target Sunday Flyer girl's legs and take your daughter's face and your son's arms. So then all of a sudden when you actually break down the image, you don't have a child, you have a face, you have an arm, and you cannot identify a victim. So we found that those changes have happened in child pornography. But what we do have, unfortunately, are individuals who are sick and they have, family members or children that they have taken images of, and then they share them in a lot of those like LimeWires and those where you can open your network and share your files. I know there's been crack people have software for that, but that's a big cases we used to have about 5-6 years ago. And those images were shared, and what would happen is they will send us an image and it might have this carpet with that podium with that soda can, and you can zoom in so much as to get like a code off of that soda can. contact Coke and they'll say that was distributed in, you know, the eastern shore of Maryland. And then we go, and that's exactly what happened was there was an eyeglass, they contacted the manufacturer of the eyeglass, the manufacturer said they, optical vision, Jennifer, and slowly broke down. So technology in that sense is pretty awesome. And that's what we do in a lot of those pornography cases with those images.
Mayor, think you have a question?
Oh, I just wanted to know, is prostitution a growing problem, or do you feel like you're getting a handle on it?
It's not a problem we see, yes ma'am.
It's lucrative because it doesn't have the same penalties, I guess, you know, a lot of people traffic counterfeit goods because of $1 million worth of false purses versus $1 million worth of cocaine. So we find that some of our criminals are going off into different enterprises. We don't have it currently that we see.
This year we had another prostitution case that we worked, it was a smaller prostitution case. He was from PG County, but he was running a brothel here in Annapolis. When he went to court, he actually ended up pleading out to 19 years. And I will tell you right now that we were ecstatic with 19 years because when the state's attorney called all her counterparts in the state, they said you'll never get more than 5 years on that case. And he ended up pleading to 19 years. So here in Annapolis, the precedent is already set for those high sentences. So that in itself has helped cut some of the prostitution down here because they know if they get caught in Annapolis, they're looking to a lengthy sentence.
Oh, one last question. NS13, you mentioned that.
Yes, ma'am.
That's becoming a problem here in Annapolis, the gangs, but it still hasn't quite gotten you.
I will tell you that there are MS-13 members that live here in Annapolis. I will tell you that Annapolis is 7 square miles. When you cut out the housing projects and the Naval Academy and all that, you're down to about 4 square miles. So they know they can't do a lot here in Annapolis, so they will go out into the county, they will go to PG County, they'll go to a lot of places. They come back to Annapolis, they don't do anything in Annapolis because that way no one messes with them here. But we do keep track on our most common, or the most frequent guys that we know, along with several other gangs. And so any given day, we probably know where they are, what they're doing, because we just keep tabs on them.
Okay, since they done had these bars here in Annapolis closing at 2 a.m., you can go from Church Circle all the way up Gateway Circle. They're all lined up.
We don't get the complaint, the community
I
complaints.
know, because the community don't want to get involved in it.
Yeah.
But if you go out there like 10 or 11 o'clock, you can see them all over the place. You know? And they will tell you they high class. They will tell you in a minute that they high class.
They looking.
I'm serious. Because we had one right here in this area, on the Clay Street area. And we told the lady she was not welcome in our neighborhood. And if we caught her in the neighborhood, we would call the police. And she would holler, she high class, and look like something else. So when we see them in that area, we would tell them, you're not welcome here because we got school zone, we got bus stops.
Right.
So the main thing between Gateway Circle and Church Circle, those people don't want to get involved
Yeah.
because they don't want to call it in or...
Well, we've had very active neighbors off of Southgate and
Right.
here in Murray Hill that have called in the past on that stuff. When they find, condoms,
Right.
when they find stuff like that, they definitely, they call us a lot.